Hello, everybody. This is Michelle Cook Hall, and I'm also the host of Renewed Mind Revolution podcast. And I'm so excited to be able to share something with you guys that I had the privilege of sharing with a few ladies a couple of years ago. And I wanted to share it now with you because we are acknowledging Mental Health Month. Mental Health Month. And that is so important right now. And it is for all ages, it is for all genders, it is for all cultures, it's for all religious backgrounds. It does not matter who you are or where you are. We all, at some point in our lives, can be affected in one way or the other with mental health issues or struggles, some more than others, some in a more paralyzing way than others. But at some point, you either know someone or you yourself have dealt with certain issues that have become overwhelming or stressful or very challenging. So, in honor of Mental Health Month, I decided to pull out of my archives this presentation that I did, like I stated for a few ladies a couple of years ago. And it's the cycle. As you see, the date clearly says May 18th, 2019, but it is still very helpful. And I feel like you will get something out of it. So I'm going to just go through a little bit of this presentation and share with you some of the tips and some of the tools that I share with those who came together with me a couple of years ago. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is self care. And then we're going to talk about family. And then we're going to talk about the power of no. This is like one of the most important topics for me because it is something that I, over time, had to learn to say the power of that, saying no when you need to, creating those boundaries, right? And some people have no problem with that. But for me, it was an issue. So I want to address that for those who are, have found themselves in a situation such as myself, where you're just going, doing for everybody, learning to say no, that power of that word no. And then prioritizing. Okay. So, once again, these are just the topics that we're going to talk about. And I just want to share this with you because I really feel like it's going to help you today as it helped those who gathered with me a couple of years ago. Okay. So, the first thing that I want to talk about regarding self care is, we all have different experiences that can help someone else. One of the most paralyzing feelings you can have is a feeling as if your situation is isolated. And I talk about that so many times in my podcast. I talk about it in my books regarding people feeling isolated. Okay. I have this motto that says, if the enemy can isolate you, he will destroy you. That's like something that I say very often because I want you to get that understanding that if he can make you feel as if you are the only person who is going through this situation, and that you're alone, and that the world is all on your shoulders and that you have no support, then he can destroy you from the inside out. Okay, the inside out. So, it's the first thing is understanding that we are not alone. You're not alone. And I am here, and there are others here to support you, and we're here to support each other. That is one of the reasons why I'm doing this today. It's because it is my extension of help. It is my olive branch, right? I might not be able to be with you physically, but I'm supporting you. I'm supporting you and letting you know that, hey, I hear you. Hey, I see you. Hey, I know that you may be going through something right now, but you're not alone. I'm reassuring you right now. So that's support, right? So understanding that even if it's not me, there's someone else, right, that can be of some form of support for you. People, everyone is not getting paid to, do podcasts or, do self-help books. People actually put their own money into these things. And it's to share. It's to share. They're trying to help. And if you get something out of that, right? If you get something out of that, then that is your help. That's letting you know, hey, I'm not alone. Someone else has dealt with the same issues or something even worse than I have. And so it takes away that feeling of isolation. So that's the first thing, is understand that we need each other. Okay. The examples of self-care, okay, physical, emotional, and maintaining our stress. I talk about this so many times on Renewed Mind Revolution podcast. So many times, because we hit the target of the physical, the mental, and the emotional. That's what we do. Physical, mental, and the emotional. Because if my mental state of mind is off, it affects my physical. If my physical body is off, it can, don't always, but it can impair my mental. And stress affects all, right? Stress can definitely affect your emotional life. Stress can definitely affect your physical life. So these all intertwine with one another. So when I talk about self-care, when I talk about even on my podcast, I'm talking about dealing with the whole person. So we often talk about dealing with your physical, dealing with your mental, dealing with your spiritual. I add that into that as well, dealing with your emotional. So we're dealing with the whole man. We cannot address one part of ourselves. We have to address all parts. So for example, I cannot say I'm gonna get, some mental health therapy and go to therapy and receive services and resources and talk to a therapist and read all these self-help books. I can't do all that, but then fail to take care of my physical. Never go to a physical, never take any of my medication, never watch what I eat, never exercise. I mean, these things go together, right? So we have to maintain all three, if not four parts, because we're going to add spiritual into that as well. If not all four parts of this, it's extremely important to do that. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about our families. We're going to talk about the task of our families. And the reason why I did this for ladies, because number one, I am a lady, so I can relate more to women and what they go through, and that struggle of trying to be the mom, trying to be the spouse, trying to take care of, your kids, try to be there for your parents, try to be there for your siblings, trying to be there for your friends, just, the responsibilities of being there and being everything to everybody, and so we need to talk about the dynamics of relationships, understanding that our responses to these people in our lives can overextend ourselves, make us end up making promises that we can't keep or that we really don't want to keep. And then in the process, we end up neglecting ourselves. Okay, so this goes for men and women, but it's just that as a woman, I can relate more to that from a woman's perspective. But you guys, please comment and let me know, are you feeling that same pull, that same struggle? Because there are single fathers out there, there are fathers who take major roles in the household, right? There are men who are not fathers but still are finding the dynamics of caring for a parent, looking out for your parent, or establishing healthy relationships, romantic or just friendships or whatever. I mean, so we have to find a balance. That's what we're talking about. Finding a balance where we are not overextending ourselves, where we're not making promises that we can't keep, that we're not neglecting our mental, physical, and our emotional and our spiritual needs in the process. Because I guarantee you, if you are there for everybody and everything all the time, I mean, just at every beckoning call, then you're going to lose a part of yourself. Sometimes one of my biggest struggles is pulling back from those that I care about. Like just saying, like this is where I have to stop. This is where I have to pull back. This I'm gonna let you handle that. I'm gonna let you deal with that. And sometimes that's hard for me. And it's not because I'm a control freak, absolutely not. It's just that it has been something that I've done over the years, especially as a mom, right? Just helping and assisting and being there and being involved. And sometimes you just have to pull back, and allow the people that you have poured into to grow into their own. And sometimes that's very challenging, but it's necessary. And then, when we have, you know, other relationships, our spouses and our parents, and for those who parents get up in age. So these are just relationships that we try to keep a balance so that we can still have something left for ourselves in the end. Okay. That's so important. So I did this, and I remember this little slide caught a lot of attention. It was they really liked it, and they were saying that they're going to go share it with their spouses because it just shows. It's a very small chart, but it just talks about the dynamics of a man and a woman, because we're still talking about relationships and how women see things a certain way and men see things a certain way. And as you can see, as you look on the woman's side, right, how women look at things, all these different colors, right? Just we going scarlet, dark red, wine red, plum, eggplant, gray, purple. I mean, just detail, right? And then you look on the man's side, and all you see is red and violet and pink and orange and yellow and green and blue, right? And so it shows that this is like a very simple example, but it just shows that women are extremely detailed. And that's why when a woman asks, a man, what happened, a man might just say a very bland answer. Well, there was an argument in the store, and the people left. The woman, no, 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 no. But what happened in the store? How did it start? Who started it? Because they want to be like present in that moment, even though they were not. You know, or something happened. With a bill. So did you talk to the people? What did the people say? What was their response? And then how did you respond? I mean, and then women go into details, right? And then men get very frustrated because they don't want to hear that, and they don't want to give you that. And it's not because they are being cruel or mean or anything. It's just that their thinking is different, right? A woman's thinking is different from a man. A man's thinking is different from a woman. And this is just a smallest example of that. And I put that in there because I think that if we understand the other party, if we get an understanding that they're not us, that guys, women are not guys, they're not going to think like you, right? The people that you're in a relationship with, your spouse, your girlfriend, your fiance, whatever, she is not thinking like you. And the same as for ladies, he's not thinking like you. And as much as we would love to bend the person to think like us and to respond like us, it's not possible. And all you're going to do is create friction where there should not be any friction. There is nothing to argue about. There's nothing to fuss about. It's just that you guys really do see things a different way, right? So once again, it's finding the balance. If your person in your life can give you, the answer that you need, just because they don't go into a whole detail of the answers doesn't mean that they don't care. It's just this is all that they can give. This is what they do. And to accept that, accept that. And the same as a woman, sometimes, fellas, you're just gonna have to let her, vent. You're gonna have to let her speak. You're gonna have to let her share, because that's what ladies do, right? They're more detailed than the guys are. Okay. So we're talking still about the difference between uh, male and female uh, in regards to the differences and how that can become very challenging. So the male brain utilizes nearly 7 times more gray matter for activity, while female brains utilize nearly 10 times more white matter. Okay, hear me again. Male brains utilize nearly 7 times more gray matter for activity, while female brains utilize 10 times more white matter. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let's find out what gray matter and what white matter means. Gray matter areas of the brain are localized. There are information and action processing centers in specific blotches in a specific area of the brain. This can translate to a kind of tunnel vision when they are doing something. That's why sometimes when you're trying to get the attention of your husband or your fiance or your friend or whatever, they're not listening, because if they are doing something, they have tunnel vision. This is not something that I'm making up. You can check this yourself. They actually have what is called tunnel vision. Once they are deeply engaged in a task or a game, they might not demonstrate such sensitivity to other people or their surroundings. And this happens even with your children. With male children, you're calling them, you're trying to get their attention, and they're just stuck. I have literally been in my son's face and just calling his name, and he just playing a video game, and he's just not listening. He's not hearing me because he's focused on his video games and his friends, and that causes me to get frustrated, right? Because I'm like, where, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Where are you? Well, it tells you, this is the area that is 7 times more for the male brain. Now, the white matter is the networking grid that connects the brain's gray matter and other processing centers with one another. This profound brain processing difference is probably one reason you may have noticed that girls tend to be more quickly transition between tasks than boys do. The gray white matter difference may explain why in adulthood, females are great multitaskers, while men excel in highly focused, highly task force focused projects. So, people always, we just have Mother's Day, and people are always, bragging on how a mother can do it all, right? You said, my mom can do it all. She has done this, and this, and she's done it all, right? Well, it clearly tells us that women are designed that way, right? Our thinking, our mind, our brain is clearly designed to do that. And so we're able to do that. We're able to multitask. We're able to cook dinner, feed our babies, clean up, answer the phone, and budget all at the same time. I mean, we can literally go through the whole house, start this project, come around, finish the whole thing. I mean, we don't forget that we had this, to be done. We're just going around circling and taking care of everything, because that's just the way that we are designed. Okay, so this is just to show you that there is a clear difference between men and women, and I did this just so we can better understand each other and respect each other, and it could help in balancing and having a healthy relationship. So now let's talk about family. Okay, let's talk about family. As we get older, we tend to worry about our parents. Find a healthy way to support your parents without stressing about the changes that they are not experiencing. Create memories with your parents. I just came back from spring break in March, and had the honor of sharing that with my family and my mom. And this just creating these memories. My kids get to create memories with her and as well as myself. And so it's important to be there and to support my mom as much as I possibly can. But in the same way, learning to not neglect my own self and making sure that I create a balance, even in that relationship, because watching your parent get older can be very, very stressful. It can be very hard and difficult to deal with, but to look at it from a perspective of the joy of having them there and the joy of being able to create more and more memories is a blessing. And so that's a very healthy way of dealing with aging parents. Children, they are watching your response to everything. Be alerted to what you are teaching them to tolerate. So if you are over stressing and becoming extremely worrisome, trust me, your kids will adopt that behavior. They need you to make the tough decisions and give them a chance to be a kid. Okay, so we want to teach them uh, healthy tools while they're young and while they're impressionable. I give this speech to my kids on a regular basis. They're young adults at this point, but I give them the speech of while you can, you know, make adjustments and change, in your life easier. Please, put these healthy tools in your life now. Like, please don't overstress. Please don't overthink. Please don't, worry about things that you cannot control. Put it in God's hands. Like, I'm really emphasizing that as much as I can to my kids because I want them to get this healthy balance of understanding that we can't control anything. That God's in control. Our job is to trust Him and lean not to our own understanding, but acknowledge Him in everything that we do. The next one is extended family and friends. Do what you can when you can. It is possible to be it is impossible, excuse me, to be everything to everybody. And this is something that I had to learn. Be who you are and don't try to conform to the needs of others by losing yourself. This is a lesson that sometimes people just overlook. They're not paying attention, but it is very difficult to try to be there for everything. Some things you just can't do, some things you just can't, make it. You can't participate. I can't do you this favor. I'm sorry, you just can't. You can't because you're going to lose yourself by trying to make everybody else happy. The next thing is goal. Your goals for your relationships are to be the best you and do only what you are capable of doing. Being the best uh, you is what really is best for all of your relationships. Because if they get to see who you really are and see you in your healthy place, in your happy place, that creates a healthy relationship. It is better for your family and your friends if you are healthy physically and emotionally. Overextending yourself will drain you and you will no longer be able to be there for anyone. Okay, for anyone. Now, this is the one that I said that I absolutely love and appreciate, and that is the power of saying no. You see your hand up? No. And this is very challenging for me because, as I stated, I struggle with trying to be there for everybody and do everything for everybody when they need it. Just truly overextending myself. And in the process, I became extremely overwhelmed because it's just not possible. I'm one person. And so I had to learn the power of saying no. Power of saying no would change your entire life. Understanding your limitations, or better yet, we call them boundaries, and goals will empower you to say no when it is necessary. Now, understand that some people do not have problems with that. They have no problems with telling a person no. For me, it was a problem. I was just trying to be helpful, trying to assist a lot. And so that can take a toll on you. Okay, the next thing we're talking about is prioritizing. So, there are basic things that you can look at this and take a look at it. What you want to do in life, your needs. The things that you need is rest. And I talk about here what sleep may do. Sleep may help prevent cancer. This is all things you can check yourself. Reduces stress, it reduces inflammation, makes you more alert, and improves your memory. You be wondering, well, am I getting old? That's why I don't remember anything anymore. No, you're sleepy. Sleep improves your memory. It may help you lose weight. Now we all need to get some sleep then, right? Let me go take a nap now. Napping makes you smarter. Sleep may reduce your risk of depression. Okay. So these are just, little tips. We talked about healthy living. So I talked about, what we eat, what we put in our bodies, our exercise, and just keep going. Our body in motion stays in motion. I remember this older lady that lives in my community. I see her every day. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, snowstorm. She was always walking. She had her dog. She had her stick, and she would walk every day, all the time. I never, you know, seen her, you know, not moving. And one day we talked, and she said her doctor, because I ended up finding she was like in her 90s, and she said her doctor actually told her that, whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing, keep going, like keep moving, like keep doing it because it's working for her. And I was impressed because me just walking a little bit would had me out of breath. And she was just every day, all the time. And so, just keep going. That's important. Water, I learned to be my best friend. Hydration has a major effect on energy levels and brain function. Water is my best friend now. If I'm really thirsty, I don't grab any type of soda or juice. I try to get water because water just really does something for me. It really does. It really refreshes me. I feel like I'm more stabilized when I drink my water. So, a lot of people don't like water. They need some type of taste. But you need to really think about that. It's just a helpful thing to do. Um, Next thing would be annual physicals, regular health exams, tests. Guys, please, I want to emphasize that to my gentlemen out there. Please, 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 go get your annual physicals. Most of the guys that I know in my life, and I mean most of them, not everybody, but most of them really do not believe in going on a regular basis to the doctor, and especially African American men. And I mean, they're, we're not just making that up. That is statistically the truth. And we need to change that because as minorities, we are pre-exposed to so many ailments. So it's very important that we get our annual physicals and our health exams, and get the test done so that some issues can be resolved. It does not have to become a deadly thing. It can actually be treatable, but you have to get there in time. So, as a woman, I know there are special screenings that, I have to do yearly, especially at my age now. So I do those things. I don't like them. I dread them. My blood pressure shoot up when I go, but I do it. I do it because it is the responsible thing to do. So we talked about that. We talked about our relationships already, and time management. Time management is very important. There are so many hours in a day. We can't do everything. Save something for tomorrow. So in other words, just don't overextend yourself. So it's about prioritizing. So I'm a planner. That's what I do. I write things down. I give it a date to work towards it. I've been doing that since I was in high school, pretty much, but definitely in college. It's very helpful to have a deadline for something, because if not, you're just making a bunch of plans and not even attempting to try to execute that. When I see a deadline, that means I need to be working towards that time frame. So you want to, plan, focus on your plan, give yourself a deadline, do your research, execute your plan, stay the course until you see the plan fulfilled. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is not making a plan or making a deadline, but actually staying the course until you see that plan is fulfilled. And once you see your plan unfolding, don't quit, because sometimes we get so overwhelmed by the process that we just kind of give up. Don't quit. Keep running at a healthy pace. Don't stress yourself. Don't overextend yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself. But at a healthy pace, keep running to see it all the way through. You deserve that. One of my first books was called This Journey is a Process. And so we all go through something that has challenged our heart, okay, goals, and sometimes even our faith, to be honest with you. But today's message was to let you see that you're not alone. Um, your sister and your brother is dealing with the same journey of life as you are. She or he, are here as well with you to remind you that you can do it because he or she did as well. So there are people who have testimonies that will blow your mind, and they have been through some very traumatic things. And so just understand that you're not alone with the hurt, you're not alone with the pain, you're not alone with the struggles, you're not alone with all of the things that you think that it was created in your thinking, in your mind. You're not the only person. Make sure to contact someone today, encourage them to check this out as well. Remember to play this over again if you need to. Prayer is the key to many locked doors, and this is definitely a fact. I am a prayer warrior, okay? And I do believe in the power of prayer. If you ever feel alone or isolated, remember that prayer changes things. You're never alone. So whenever you feel like, you are alone, please, please remember that you're not. So this is the resource page that I had, and it just shows mentalhealth.gov. Get some more information for those who need housing opportunities. Please do not neglect to take this information down. National Domestic Violence Hotline. This is for men or women. Please take a look at that if you're interested in home ownership, and there are programs out there for that. Those are the links to that as well. So it has been my absolute honor, my absolute pleasure in being able to share some tips and some tools with you today. I hope that you got something out of it. Remember to tune into Renewed Mind Revolution podcast. I am the host of that podcast, Michelle Cook Hall, and it is available on pretty much all of the listening platforms right now. So go and check it out. Let me know what you think. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Take care of your physical, take care of your mental, take care of your emotional, and take care of your spiritual health. I love you, but most importantly, God loves you more. God bless you guys. Have a great day.